Hey there, and welcome to my next episode on my podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about integrity. Why integrity? Well, last night I witnessed one thing that made me really question my town's integrity. Something I never wanted to do. I love where I live. I love our little community. I'm very involved. But more and more, there are things that just keep popping up and making me question the integrity here. If we haven't yet met, I'm Kathleen Sposato. I'm a wife, proud mother of 6, real estate broker, and investor with 21 years of experience in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. I've helped people through everything from first-time home sales to estate sales, divorces, relocations, you name it. But today, I'm not here to talk about real estate. I'm here to talk about integrity. Integrity is something that I have always practiced in my life. I've practiced it in my business, with my kids, my husband, my relationships, and my community. Last night, we had a annual town meeting, the first that I was aware of since we moved here a few short years ago. And at the end of the meeting, they were going to be voting on the town government budget as well as the Board of Education budget. These are millions of dollars worth of funding in both of these two budgets combined. They were split into two separate votes, and I was just made aware of it merely the week leading up to it. Unfortunately, I was already volunteering to run the concessions for our Little League game that evening, so I was going to miss the meeting. But fortunately, there were enough people there causing a ruckus, as my husband described it, and arguing and getting heated, that the meeting went on and was ending just as the Little League game was ending, so I had plenty of time to rush over there with my 2 little boys and cast my vote. I was super surprised to walk in the door and find lots of people standing, talking loudly, sitting, multiple different lines. You couldn't tell sometimes where one was starting or one was ending or which way they were moving. So I had to ask several people if they were in line, if I should hop in behind them, in which direction to go. But once I got my bearings, I was able to get into the line. And I kid you not, within 90 seconds, I moved through a pretty decent sized line. I received 2 little pieces of paper, was able to check the 2 boxes on each piece of paper, either approving or disapproving the budget, and walk right back out the door. Now, I didn't recognize the people that were giving me the pieces of paper. I'm sure they didn't recognize me either. They did not ask for my ID. They did not ask if I was a town resident. Nothing, no questions asked. You just walk in, grab your paper, check a box, and walk out. Meanwhile, while I was in line, I heard a few people ask other friends that were sitting close by, "Hey, did you cast your vote yet?" And they jokingly said yes multiple times. One even said they walked across the room and voted on the other side because you could vote on either side of the room, and there were just lines zigzagging all around and people in the middle talking, and it was, in my eyes, pure chaos when I got there. So, cast my vote, walked outside, and I was just dumbfounded. How do you vote for millions and millions of dollars in a budget and not even verify that the people that are in there filling out the pieces of paper, 1, are old enough to vote, 2, are town residents, 3, are who they say they are? I just don't understand. It made no sense to me whatsoever. I have been on many boards for my realtor board. I've been on a board of directors. I've been on scholarship committees, membership committees. I've been involved in a lot of different things. Most recently, getting involved with the school PTO. And it was more formal voting me in as secretary for the PTO than it was to vote for over $10 million in a budget last night. To me, that does not show integrity. Once I brought this up on social media, people started attacking me, saying I was making allegations, saying I was not factual because I didn't have video proof of it. But I challenge any of the 282 people that voted, which, by the way, that's less than 9% of our voter population in Pomfret. So that's how poorly these things are getting out there to the public to know about it. And I almost missed it myself. 9% of the people went out there and voted. And I'm sorry, but if you're just going to gaslight because I'm questioning the fact that we didn't have any verification process, then I just feel sorry for you. That's, to me, absurd. What is election integrity? To me, election integrity refers to fairness, accuracy, transparency, and security. It ensures that all eligible voters can vote freely and without intimidation. I will say that I did feel slight intimidation from even the people that I consider friends in the community about this vote. It seemed to be the general theme that if you did not vote yes, then you weren't supporting our kids or our school system. And that if you voted no, you were taking away resources from our kids that they need, and that their class sizes were going to get unmanageable and they weren't going to get the attention or the education that they deserve. Coming from a much larger school system in Massachusetts, where I've successfully raised 4 young adults from preschool to graduation and now going into college, I do not believe in that kind of fear mongering. This school here in Pomfret is amazing. I love it. It's been a blessing. I think it's great that the classes are small, but do I think they need to be as small as they are? Absolutely not. I don't think we need to have 14 kids to one teacher and 1 to 2 paras in each classroom for our kids to have a good, strong education. I'm sorry if you disagree with that. That's how I feel. I'm basing that off of 4 other kids that thrived in much larger classes with much less one-on-one attention. Also, I think that people were led to believe that if their kids had any kind of special needs in the school system, that that was going to go away if you didn't vote yes. And I'm sorry, I challenge that statement. I think that is also fear mongering, and I don't think that is accurate. Now I'm going to go back to election integrity. Another part of that, votes are counted accurately and securely. But let me ask you this. How can you count those accurately and securely when you have a room full of chaos going on where people are allowed to stay the whole time, create a lot of noise and nuisance, and aren't even checked in or out? How do they know how many of those people were legal voters? How do they know? The answer is they don't. Also, the process is supposed to be protected from fraud or interference. In my opinion, there was no protections in place at all. If anything, this was the far extreme opposite, and I just was blown away. I could not believe that this was how it was handled. Speaking from experience from being on scholarship committees where we were much more formal than we were voting on these budgets of millions of dollars. And then the results will reflect the will of the people. I don't know if the will of the people is less than 9% of the voter population. I guess you can say it is because that's who showed up. I'm a big person in social media and the community, and I barely heard about this. So I'm sure the over 90% of the population that didn't show up clueless to this even taking place. I think a lot more could have been done for that. But back to integrity. Maintaining election integrity, it involves measures like secure voter registration systems, transparent vote counting, bipartisan oversight, audits, and enforcement of election laws. The goal is for the public to trust the institutions and trust the process. I'm sorry, but there was no way that I was trusting this process last night. It was absolutely embarrassing. I wasn't at the full meeting. I got there afterwards. Like I said, I was volunteering for the Little League last night. But from what my husband told me, they quote unquote said that they were going to be using the honor system last night. So you had to go up and vote if you were 18 and a resident, but they weren't going to check because they were going on the honor system. I was running the Little League concessions last night, and we don't just leave the cash box on the counter, which had far less money, and say, hey guys, grab your snacks and just put money in the box because we're going on the honor system. So why do we run a Little League concession stand with more integrity than we lead a town vote for a town budget? I don't know. It just infuriated me to no end. And the fact that I go on social media and talk about it and people just want to gaslight me, call me names, say I didn't get my way or I'm a conspiracy theorist, I just feel sad for you because that must be a childish, immature, miserable life to live if that's how you talk to people that are bringing up factual information. I'm sorry I don't have to walk around with a camera in my hat and record things for it to be true. And I challenge any of the 282 people that were there with me last night to dispute what I'm saying because it is factual truth, and it actually makes me sad to see these people applaud and happy with the outcome and not care and look the other way that there was no integrity in the system and that less than 9% of our town actually showed up for this and that no one even had to prove who they were. I'm sorry, but that's just sad. We can do better. I think Pomfret can do better. I'm proud to live here. I'm proud to support our kids. I'm proud to participate in all of the things at their school on a monthly basis, sometimes a weekly basis, sometimes multiple times a week. I'm proud to get involved in the rec, in the sports, and help with the concessions and see the kids smiling and having a great time like they should be. I am happy to go out and support local businesses and promote local businesses and do business here. We got to do better. There needs to be some integrity. There needs to be some accountability. The gaslighting needs to stop. And we really need to look in the mirror and say, hey, is there a better way that we can do this? Because clearly the Little League concession stand's doing it better. Why can't we do this better as a town? What does integrity mean to you? I'd love to hear about it. Does this bother you at all? Or do you think this is normal? I don't think it's normal, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised because more and more, as I'm getting involved in the community and in things that my children are in, I'm hearing stories of mismanagement of funds with Little League and PTO and things that have happened in the past. And there's a great group of people in charge now that are trying to make positive change and take over these things and have them done the right way. So I would just like to see that translate over to our Board of Education and our town government as well. I don't see why it can't happen. So that is my challenge today to you. If you're listening, if you're involved, do better. Have integrity in everything that you do. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.